So, hey Holly, how are you doing?
I'm awesome, Jade. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining our video shoot today. I know we're in a new location, and I'm so happy that we're able to find different locations in your area to shoot videos in. It really mixes up your environment and makes your videos interesting. How can you explain to me how you're easily able just to pick up your camera and go?
Absolutely. So I'm using everything on my laptop. So we've shot anywhere from my backyard to my kitchen. We happen to be in my branch office today, and we'll probably be doing some things from some model homes here in the future. So have laptop will travel.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips or tricks that you do to make sure your environment is set up for filming no matter where you're going?
The biggest thing is to try and make sure it's reasonable with regard to background noise. I know when we shot in my backyard, one time my rooster he thought we were talking to him. So um, that's always a challenge. And then also trying to minimize distraction behind me, or make sure that I've got stuff that is reasonable to look at, not too busy, things like that. And then also looking at lighting, making sure that the lighting is not too much, reasonable, and I'm not too washed out.
So you're kind of just thinking these things beforehand before you're deciding, okay, we're going to shoot here today.
Absolutely. And like today, I've got my laptop lifted a little bit, so I can adjust what things look like. And I just like to play with different locations well before our call, just to see if that's going to put me in the best light.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your laptop prompt on like books or just
Yeah,
anything accessible to you?
yes, I'm actually on presentation folders right now.
Oh,
Just trying to
perfect.
get the best height that I could.
So really, you're just using the resources you have available to you and just winging it to make sure you're looking the best on camera.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So what I know we usually shoot two topics today. Are we doing that as well?
Yes, please.
Yeah, awesome. Whenever you're ready, what are the topics that we're going to record today?
The first one is there a market season? I've got a lot of sellers I've been working with, and they're like, oh, well, I don't want to miss the marketing season. So I just want to give them some stats of there is no real marketing season in our area. There are times of busy and not busy. But for the most part, what we've been seeing in the market is we're staying pretty busy. And then the second things is if you're thinking of buying coming up this summer in the next few months, a couple of things that I want you to watch out for.
Okay, and what are the reasons you want to, what are the things you want to watch out for?
Well, the first and foremost is going to be interest rates. They're going to be rising, and so that's going to cut into people's affordability and what that looks like. So where they might be able to qualify for a $250,000 home, if the interest rate goes up even 0.25%, that may reduce them as much as $35,000 in their buying power. So that's pretty substantial. The second thing is making sure that they have enough time to do inspections. So their inspection period, especially if they've got a home inspector that they'd like to work with. Many of our inspectors are so busy right now, especially the good ones. We want to make sure they've got enough time for that. And then finally, making sure that they've got the funds on hand to close. I'm working with some buyers right now who need to season their funds. And what that means is a 60-day time frame of it actually being in their account and being able to pull the bank statements. And that would also mean a longer escrow time. It also means a rate lock extension, which is more expensive in closing costs. So it really kind of hurts their ability to go out and buy something right now. And they found their house. They're just not able to go forward because of these things, how they're impacting them.
So basically, today's topics are realizing that you need to plan ahead if you're thinking of doing anything with real estate.
Absolutely. It's not I woke up this morning and I should buy a house. I
Hmm.
love that, but there's some other things I want you to think about.
Perfect. I think this will be great to send out to your database, especially since it's kind of the busy spring season. Let's get everything rolling for summer, basically. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready to shoot a video. If you want to just click on your video recording there and just make sure doors are closed, everything's shut off with your phone and everything.
Oh, phone, let me do that real
Yeah.
fast. That's been one of those things lately. Hold on a second. Throw that on airplane mode. It increases funds to close. Just
And
making notes.
yeah, you're just making some notes. Do you do that before your videos? During, I know a lot of times we're like, okay, let's shoot something over because I want to add something to that
Yeah.
topic. Just,
Where I can, I don't write out a full script because I'm never going to memorize, that 60 seconds of dialogue. So I want it to be more of a conversation. I write out some general highlights, and I never try to cram too much in, because if I do, then I've lost an opportunity. And so make it a video series or whatever. But if I can do, 3 key points, then I can move on and do something else.
yeah. So, yeah, just like you said, sometimes you want to answer 5 things or 6 things. We can easily make that into 2 videos, and then you have 2 videos knocked out for that month, or, another video knocked out during, a next month. So I'm glad you've brought that up and you're thinking ahead of time as well.
Absolutely. And go directly. I found it for me, I like to talk about what's happening in my market and what I'm getting asked when I go out on appointments and questions, because if I do that, then I'm more relevant to my clients. I
Hmm.
can stay current.
I think that's a great idea. What questions are you asking when you're asking your clients what you should do your next video on? So how does that
You
question get
know,
posed?
depending on what's going on with the client, and it's more about what questions they're asking me, their concerns. The listing appointment I was on last night was, I don't want to miss the marketing season. And it's like, okay. And that seems to be kind of a conversation that comes up over and over. So let's have a good conversation about it.
Perfect. That is, you're just, okay, this is what my client needs. This is what my client is going to get from me. I think that's awesome.
Exactly.
So we're on camera mode right now. Let's go ahead and turn to video mode.
Oh yeah,
You go
that
on
would
the
be
left-hand
helpful.
side. Yeah,
Well,
perfect. I'm going to go on mute. Whenever you're ready, let's start.
okay.
Okay.
One of the most common questions I get asked is, when is the height of the marketing season in real estate? Well, fun fact, it depends. More now. When you start to look at marketing in real estate, and actually I want to start that over, Jade. Many times I'll get asked the question, when is the best time to put my house on the market? Well, it depends. Let's talk about what makes sense for you. When you go to look at real estate these days, there's a lot of options and a lot of time frames that people get really concerned about. And so one of the things that I want to share with you is, what is the best marketing season? What we've experienced in our area, in northern Arizona, is it depends. For the most part, I've sold a lot of houses the day after Christmas. So listing right before Christmas does not hurt you. Also, January and February I found to be some of the busiest times. Now, quite frankly, our market is heating up here towards the end of March, but just some things for you to keep in mind. In January, we had approximately 612 listings available on the market, and that increased in February to 656. What was interesting about that and how it impacted sellers is their need to negotiate actually increased because there was more inventory on the market. So by the time we hit the end of February, sellers were maybe negotiating up to 1% more from their list price than they were sometimes in January. Now, all of that is relative. What it is about when you go to put your house on the market is your time frame. Anytime you think about listing your house, I want you to think of, one, the list price is going to determine how long I will be on the market. Two, my condition will absolutely impact how much I would get for my house. And three, my availability to show, that will obviously impact. For the most part, it takes about 10 clients or 10 showings to get that first offer. So keep all of those things in mind as you move forward and prepare your house to list this summer.
That was great. I'm glad that you held up your fingers. I'm glad that you said numbers. A lot of people connect with numbers, and that's the best way to get information to your database. What did you
Good.
think about that video?
I liked it. I think we're okay with that.
I agree. Whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and go on mute for the next topic.
Okay, fantastic. If you're thinking about buying or jumping into the housing market this summer, well, there's a couple of tips I have for you before you get too far ahead of yourself. When it comes to getting ready to buy a house, I want you to be prepared. And there are a couple of things happening right now that could impact you when you go to buy this summer. The first thing is most definitely be watching that interest rate. If you are pre-approved through your lender right now, say for $250,000, an interest rate rise could impact your ability to purchase in upwards of $25,000 to $30,000 if it increases even 1/4%. So do keep in contact with your lender. If you haven't been pre-qualified yet and would like to get a loan, just let me know and I'll get you with a great local lender. The second thing I want you to be prepared for is working with your home inspector. Many of our best inspectors, well, they're booked out in upwards of 9 or 10 days out. And so that 10-day inspection period in Arizona is just not going to cut it in rural areas. So we definitely want to increase your inspection time. And so as a result, if you are going to be getting a home inspection, which I highly recommend, make sure you're asking for a longer lead time and you know what your favorite home inspector might be running as far as their schedule. And then finally, and most importantly, if you are getting funds either in the form of a gift or you're getting a bonus or anything like that, sometimes funds must be seasoned if you're going to use them for purchase. And what I mean by that is they must be in your account for a minimum of 60 days. If they're not in there for at least 60 days, they may not count or qualify for you to be able to get your loan. I'm actually working with some buyers right now who have found their house and they're so excited, but the funds are not seasoned. So as a result, we can't close until June. And that's not going to work for them. It also will cost them more money on their interest lock extension. So those are some things I want you to keep in mind. Make sure you know what your interest rate is, you know your timing for your home inspector, and your funds to close. Well, you've got them, and they're seasoned. If you have any questions, always give me a call. I'm happy to help in any way.
I'm so happy that you recapped. Some of that information could have been, taken as that was a lot of information to take in. So you recapped and that's helpful. That also lets them know, okay, let me go back down to the blog and read all this information as well. What did you
Cool.
think about that take?
I think I'm okay with it.
I agree. I think that's perfect. Those videos are very short, to the point, and your database will definitely watch all the way through. We do have 3 videos in
Cool.
queue for you right now. Do you want to send these videos
Okay.
out before the other ones because they are kind of like timely, summer-ish, spring-ish
Yes, please.
topics? I agree. So
Yeah.
we'll fast track these 2 before the other 3 we have as well.
Okay, that sounds great.
Perfect. And then we haven't updated your database. Do you have any updates to add as of right now
You
that you
know
can
what?
send over to
I
me?
need to look. I believe I will, and I'll try and get those to you by day's end or tomorrow.
Okay, great, Holly. So basically our process is, let's mix up the environment. Let's make sure we prepare ahead of time for our video shoots so we make sure our topic is as clear and we can easily understand it as possible. And basically just don't get tied to a script. Just have those talking points is really how you develop and make sure you're consistent with sending out 2 video emails a month.
Absolutely. It's made a huge difference.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Holly, for your time. Please let me know if I can help with anything else. Once I receive your videos, I'll send over a confirmation email, okay?
Awesome, Jade. Thank you.
And then before I get you off the phone here, our next video shoot is scheduled for April 9th. Having those monthly video shoots has been working for us as well, too.
Yes, it keeps me on track, and April 9th is perfect at 10 o'clock my time.
Exactly. Great. Well, I'll talk to you in April, and then we will look out for an email from us, okay?
Sounds great, Jade. Have a good
All
one.
right. Thank you, too. Bye, Holly.